I like Skyward Sword. I like it a lot. So my good friend Foot of a Ferret asked me, why do you like Skyward Sword so much, you dingus? I feel like Skyward Sword gets way too much of a bad reputation just because Egoraptor and a couple other YouTubers really don't like it, but does that mean that it's a bad game? Well, no. In fact, I actually think it's a great game. One of the biggest complaints that I hear about Skyward Sword is that its opening is way too long and way too boring. Oh, you mean like Twilight Princess? But Skyward Sword's opening is just rescuing cats the game. You do that once. It's optional. In Twilight Princess, you have to catch a fish for a cat. That's mandatory, and that's stupid. The opening of most 3D Zelda games usually isn't anything that interesting or entertaining, especially Twilight Princess, because what are you doing there? You're wandering around the town, you're catching fish for a cat, you're wrestling cattle, you're looking at some really creepy-faced children, you're rescuing a empty cradle from a river. Oh boy. But in Skyward Sword, it's really cool because it's all about the characters' relationships and establishing motivation, and it's really freaking deep. It's not like, you know, a really complex story, but I like it a lot. A great example of this is going to be the relationship of Zelda and Link. Not only are they best friends, but you can see the kind of hinting of a fledgling relationship, like a romantic one. And so whenever Zelda gets kidnapped, I actually want to go save her and rescue her because they've established her as this great character that Link is connected to. In all the other Zelda games, she's just like, it's a princess. I guess I'll go save her. But here I actually care. Also, there's Groose. I like Groose. He's like the Gaston, but for a Zelda game. He's a big bully and with a giant, big, poofy red pompadour. And it's ridiculous and wonderful, just like Groose. He's a very silly character that becomes a really stand-up guy later on. He even gets a catapult or cannon thingy called the Groosinator. I love him. What? Okay, where is he in freaking Hyrule Warriors? The Groose needs to be set loose. But there's nothing to do in the overworld. It's just one giant blank empty thing that you just fly around in, and it just sucks, and it's the worst thing that's ever happened to a Zelda game. I hate it. Oh, you mean like Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess? Man, the overworld in Twilight Princess had like nothing going on. It was a giant barren wasteland. But there were at least quite a few enemies that could kind of keep things interesting, and you could wield your sword on horseback, which is really cool. In Ocarina of Time, there was barely anything there. There were some enemies during the day and some enemies during the night, but generally it's just there for you to walk from point A to point B. It's a big waste of time, and I don't like it. But see, Skyward Sword is a lot like Wind Waker, where there's a bunch of little islands and you can do all sorts of fun little things, solving puzzles and getting extra items and rupees and heart containers, and there's a lot of little fun little things to do too, like you can go to the pumpkin place, and you can go to Beetle's place. It's really cool. It's definitely a lot more fun than Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time's boring, bland-ass overworld. But there's only a few locations that you go back to over and over again. Personally, I really like going back to the old areas and seeing what new places and discoveries you can make with your new items and new abilities. And besides, when you think about it, there really weren't all that many different varieties of places in the other Zelda games. I mean, you got your town, you got a desert, you got a volcano, and a forest that also doubles as the water area. That's pretty much every basic Zelda place accounted for. But the art style is just so stupid and boring. Just look at everybody's lips, it's horrible. First of all, I really like the watercolor styled art in Skyward Sword. Second of all, graphics are not the most important part of a game. Third, remember when everybody hated Wind Waker's art style when it first came out? Yeah. But the stamina meter sucked. It's really stupid and pointless. Is it really worse than having to roll everywhere in most of the 3D Zelda games? I like that Link can at least run. It usually gets me there a lot faster than over and over again. But Fi is so annoying. She talks in percentages, and she's so hand-holdy, and she's annoying, and I hate her. Why is she not Midna? Yeah, Fi is not Midna. Midna was the greatest companion that we ever got in a Zelda game. But here's one thing. Fi is at least better than Navi. All the problems people have with Fi, except for the percentages, like she's so hand-holdy and she just tells you where to go and she's super annoying. Aren't these all the complaints that everybody has about Navi? And I think Navi's not that bad, but I think she's worse than Fi. At least Fi adds something and Fi has personality, whereas Navi's literally just there to navigate you, to navigate you, if you will. Bad pun. Okay, I know. But your shield can break. You've never had to rebuy shields in a Zelda game before. I hate it. It's stupid. I hate it. It's stupid. Ocarina of Time. Fire can burn your Deku shield, and Likes can eat your Hylian shield. Sure, you have to replace your shield a lot more often in Skyward Sword than in other games, but at least it makes sense. I mean, shields aren't invincible, unbreakable objects, unless you get the Hylian shield from the dragon in Skyward Sword, but that's neither here nor there. But the motion controls are really dumb. I hate how it's all one-to-one sword play. Why can't they just push a button and it makes Link swing his sword? This is the worst thing ever. Okay, look, I'll be the first one to admit that the one-to-one motion controls of Skyward Sword really didn't work that well in execution, but at least they tried to have actual motion controls. I mean, the motion controls of the Wii version of Twilight Princess were so shoehorned in that this is literally all you had to do to win. Oh boy, this is so engaging. There were some other cool things that Skyward Sword did with the one-to-one stuff, but yeah, swordplay wasn't the best part of it. But the fight with the Imprisoned was horrible. You had to fight him 3 times and it was frustrating and makes me so angry. Okay, yeah, the Imprisoned was a really terrible thing and it was a terrible boss and it was not really fun any 3 of the times you had to fight him, and it was, yeah, it was really frustrating. But most Zelda games have one thing that really irks players, especially on replays. Ever heard of the Water Temple? I heard a lot of people thought that that was frustrating. And besides, it's not like every single Zelda game has a bunch of really cool, really awesome, totally not frustrating, totally not crazy bosses. Sure, Skyward Sword had some really stupid bosses, but it also had some really cool ones too. I don't like how we just have to dwell on the bad stuff. Why don't we ever look at how great these bosses were? Look at this one! I'm fighting with a giant-ass sword! It's phenomenal and fun! Look, I'm not trying to say that Skyward Sword is the greatest Zelda game of all time, because I really don't think that. In fact, Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda game. But it really doesn't matter what I think, it matters what you think. We all have different opinions because all of our tastes are subjective. We all like different things, therefore we're going to like different games better than others. We can't all like the same stuff, we can't all like the same genres, that would be stupid and defeats the entire purpose of... Really? And it defeats the entire purpose of individuality. I mean, who cares if you like a game that I don't like or I like a game that you don't like? It really doesn't matter. And I understand the hypocrisy of, well, you're the one making a video about it because you think that it's really bad that people don't like a game that you like. It's not that, it's just that I think that people are way too critical about Skyward Sword because it's actually a really fun game that does a lot of awesome things, like the crafting system. I know it feels like every game has to have a crafting system nowadays, but I really like them, and I also like it in Skyward Sword. I like how Beetle's shop, how it's in the air and he's on a stationary bike that's pedaling it the entire time. I think it's really cool. I like the characters. I think the dialogue is amazing. I actually like that this has emotional depth to it, unlike every other Zelda game. I just think that it's worth taking a second look at, instead of just jumping on the bandwagon with, oh, this person doesn't like a game, therefore it's the worst thing ever. I'm not saying that everybody is a sheeple like that, but whatever. Like what you like, I'll like what I like. I fucking love Skyward Sword. So yeah, what do you think about Skyward Sword? Let me know in the comments below or wherever they put the comments nowadays. Or you can also tweet me at TrailerDrake because I actually want to hear your opinion. Also, if you have an idea for another topic that you want me to handle on this kind of vlog-like thing, just leave a comment again wherever, or then tweet me at TrailerDrake and I'll maybe make a video answering your question. Okay. I'm gonna go now. Toodaloo.